like?
Yeah, so last year I had a constituent from Normandy Park, and she had reached out, sent me an email, and they had saved money for a number of years. They had like $20,000 to do an expansion in their home. Their family had grown, and they'd hired a registered contractor in our state. And then all of a sudden, the person stopped kind of returning calls. So they were working on, getting getting the codes and the permits. And eventually, she went down to the city council, and the person had gotten no permits and then couldn't be reached at all. So she basically later found out there was a warrant out of California. He had a history of doing fraudulent behavior. And so, it really struck me as I started learning more about registry and consumer protection is that homeowners really, there's not a good ways of making them whole. If there's a predatory contractor, they've often, harmed multiple people. The bond rates were like for $20,000. And if you have a bad contractor, which, most are good, but if you have a bad one and they've harmed multiple people, that money is not going to go very far. And she wasn't able to actually, get anything back. And so we worked on legislation. There was a great actual story by Jesse Jones kind of saying, anyone can be a contractor. You get a bond, you pay like $130 and you're a contractor. How does a homeowner know, right? So we've had a work group through LNI, and we've been meeting every couple weeks. It was off a bill we passed last session to say, what should we be doing differently? One of the things I'm really excited that we're looking at, and I had my social work intern from last year research this, is what's called a recovery fund. And what happens is the state sets up this fund, and if a homeowner, goes through judgments and does all the things they're supposed to do to actually get damages and can't, this fund can make them whole. Mm-hmm. So my constituent in Normandy Park, had we had this resource, she could have gone and actually, applied to get that $20,000, in damages returned to her. So I'm really excited. We're looking at, do we need to highlight more what training folks have, or if they have past judgments, how can we get information to homeowners so they can make a better decision? So we're still finishing up our recommendations, but I think we're going to have some good steps forward.